Get ready, gamers! We're diving into 15 upcoming Metroidvania adventures that promise a huge world to explore, unique powers to unlock, and unforgettable stories to uncover. These games span from gothic sci-fi ruins to whimsical dreamlands, and each one brings its own twist on exploration and action. These titles are shining examples of the thriving indie scene. Remember that Steam alone makes over $1 billion a year from indie games, and it remains the largest PC game store. In other words, if you are into unique, story-rich platformers, playing on PC will give you first dibs on all these gems. So sit back, pick your favorite armory or umbrella, and let's jump into our list of upcoming Metroidvanias. The first game in the list looks like stepping into a storybook dreamland. Ollie and the Merchant of Dreams stars Ollie, a kid who can summon fantastical creatures from their imagination. When Ollie sleeps, they journey through whimsical dream realms. Think candy forests, floating islands, and friendly monsters like walking cupcakes. The gameplay mixes platforming puzzles and light combat. You summoned creatures like a cotton candy bird or a ghostly friend, help solve puzzles, or gently fight silly enemies. Visually, it's hand-painted 2D with bright colors straight out of a children's fairy tale. The tone is cooperative and joyful, even if it might have small thrills. Because the protagonists are so imaginative, expect surprises. One stage might have navigating clouds, another fighting a cake that comes alive. The developer is aiming for something that feels magical and nostalgic. If you loved Kirby's Dreamland or games where creativity is key, this looks to be a sweet, uplifting adventure. Get ready for a dark fairy tale Metroidvania. Briar Flame sets its scene in a land overrun by an evil. You're a young ember host, basically a spirit made of sacred fire, determined to push through the brambles and reach the heart of the briar to stop its curse. The gameplay is heavily inspired by Souls games. Expect tight, pattern-based combat where dodging and timing are everything. One journalist even called it adaptable like Dark Souls. You'll swing flaming melee weapons, cast explosive fire spells, and equip relics that give you new flame powers. The look is moody. Imagine a twilight forest with creeping vines and glowing embers against gothic backdrops. Each new flame ability unlocks a way past an obstacle. For example, burning through wooden barriers or lighting up hidden paths. The world feels very atmospheric, like a dark fairy tale come to life in pixels. If you like a challenge and a bit of melancholy story hidden among the thorns, Briar Flame could become a favorite in the dark fantasy subgenre. Ariana and the Elder Codex brings us to a magical fantasy library setting. You become Ariana, a young librarian with enchanted powers. In this game, giant books have gone haywire and spread monstrous creatures throughout the archives. Your job? Leap into those haunted manuscripts and restore lost magic by beating the monsters inside. The combat is fast and spell-based. You can unlock and craft 30 plus different spells, from firing magic beams to summoning platforms. This one looks very anime inspired with bright hand-drawn 2D art. Previews say the action is challenging but rewarding. Expect precise dodging and spell combos rather than button mashing. The feel is kinda like a fantasy Castlevania, speed along library rafters, unlock secrets, and watch Ariana's robes glowing with energy. If you love collecting and upgrading abilities, imagine a spell-making crafting system too. This one will scratch that itch. Let's continue with nostalgia and charm. Little Nemo and the Garden of Slumberland is a prequel to the classic NES game, but with modern fluid animation. You play Nemo, the boy from the old comics and arcade game. As he travels through dream worlds, the descriptions hype it as cute, colorful. Indeed, its Steam page says Nemo is armed with toys, candy, and stuffed animals. In a vast Metroidvania world, that means everything looks cartoonishly bright. Cotton candy clouds, bedroom portals, friendly dream critters. Gameplay recalls the old 8-bit feel but updated. Expect non-linear exploration, like finding new power pieces from the comic, and a focus on platforming combos. There are unique touches too. On the Steam community, it mentions PJs are a major upgrade item. Basically, Nemo finds new pajamas that give him buffs. How cute! The story is true to the whimsical theme. Nemo must save Dreamland and his toys, all drawn frame by frame like a hand-animated cartoon. If you love the idea of stepping into a childhood dream or just love a bright, fluid platformer, this one could be a dream come true. Pun intended. Clockwork Ambrosia mixes steampunk and shooter elements. You pilot a customizable airship through a gritty industrial world full of cogs and smokestacks. This game isn't pure side-scroller or pure top-down. It actually switches between them. In open areas, you fly your airship in top-down shooter mode. Think bullet patterns, upgrading cannons and armor. While in city or building sections, you hop out, run and gun in a 2D platformer style. The neat twist is you can break down your weapons and armor to mix and match parts. It calls it a forge your own weapon system. So if you find a better cannon, It is modular and you can attach its parts to your ship or suit. This means almost endless customization for your battle style. The look is pixelated but with a gritty edge. Brown bricks, steaming pipes, clock towers, mech enemies. Previews say expect fast-paced shooting and tight platform segments, plus gear-shifting combat. It's been described as writing your own symphony of bullets. For fans of games like SteamWorld Heist or Blaster Master Zero that blend genres, Clockwork Ambrosia's ambition and cityscape setting make it one to watch. Time for something cozy and spooky. Pumpkin and Patch looks like Halloween come to life. You control a duo, Patch, a plucky dog, and Pumpkin, a living jack-o'-lantern. Together they explore a haunted farm and forest full of seasonal spooks. Gameplay mixes platforming and light combat, with each character having special moves. For example, maybe Patch digs tunnels or Pumpkin can roll into a wheel. As you unlock new abilities, you'll solve puzzles, like using Pumpkin's wheel roll to break through fences or lighting dark areas. The art is cute, cartoonish pixel style. Think of a charming fall festival vibe rather than true horror. It even has co-op potential, hinting that two players could team up as Dog and Pumpkin. The atmosphere is friendly, spooky, pumpkins, ghosts, creaky bars at twilight. Fans of Halloween-themed games should keep an eye on this one, since it promises boss fights against things like scarecrows and a chill story wrapped in that fall charm. Volunteer the Ascension is a hand-drawn JRPG-style Metroidvania that looks straight out of a fantasy anime. You journey through the magical world of Rawa, befriending special companions called Fated Bonds. Each companion you meet on the way will help you in battle, and interestingly your choices with them change the game's path. It's a branching story, so talking to an ally or making a moral choice can open or close different areas. There are over 150 enemies drawn in polished pixel art, from slithering forest spirits to armored golems. The combat combines exploration with RPG elements. You'll switch between weapons, cast spells, and use your companion's unique skills. The Kickstarter showed off gorgeous cutscenes and animations, so expect an epic narrative with your pixel pals. It feels like a classic anime fantasy world. Think lush forests, ruined castles, and a big overarching fate versus free will theme. Fans of deep stories and retro JRPG battles will likely find Fallen Tea's ambitious blend of storytelling and Metroidvania gameplay very appealing. Mask of Soul is steeped in East Asian myth, particularly Korean folklore. Here, you are Cheong Ochaza, a Grim Reaper-like guardian of the underworld. One night, a strange red moon causes spirits to escape into the living world, and you must hunt them down. The Steam description nails it. You play Cheong Ochaza, the underworld's gatekeeper, hunting spirits released under the red moon. Combat is precise and flowing. Picture a 2D ninja with a sword, where you can parry incoming attacks and switch on the fly between different soul masks that grant new powers. For example, one mask might let you dash through enemies, another might summon a spirit flame attack. The art is elegant and hand-drawn, combining shadowy forests with temple ruins under a blood-red sky. As you explore, each region has its own puzzle or hazard tied to a mask, so swapping mask is key. In short, fast-paced action, cultural flair. The game explicitly draws on yakshas and other legends, and strategic mask swapping combat. Reviews and tags already emphasize its focus on nimble, high-stakes battles and dark fantasy style. So if you are into sword play with a spiritual twist, Mask of Soul looks tailor-made for you. Mariachi Legends brings a vibrant fantasy world packed with fast-paced combat and classic Metroidvania exploration. You step into a richly built universe where ancient powers, mythical creatures, and long-buried secrets shape the land around you. Right away, what grabs attention is the colorful, high-energy 2D pixel art. Environments pop with personality, dense forests, mystical temples, forgotten underground passages, all tied together through a fully interconnected map designed for backtracking and discovery. This is not level-based, it's one continuous world that slowly opens up as you gain new traversal abilities. Combat looks dynamic and combo-driven. You're not just swinging a weapon, you're changing abilities, dodging, countering, and unlocking new skills that completely change how encounters play out. As you progress, you expand your movement toolkit with the new mobility powers that let you reach hidden paths and optional challenge areas. The boss designs especially seem built to test reflexes and mastery of your upgrades, which is exactly what fans of the genre want. Add in a strong fantasy tone and a sense of classic adventure, and Mariachi Legends feels like it's aiming to be one of those sleeper hits that surprises everyone. Evolvania turns the genre inside out, literally. You play inside a colossal living creature, The game's twist is its evolution mechanic. As you progress, you can literally merge with parts of the creature or its enemies. Each time you absorb a new power, your character physically transforms, gaining abilities that change how you traverse the environment. For instance, maybe you swallow a fish and gain a swimming fin, or fuse with a vine to climb walls. This gives Evolvania a unique feel. It feels like platforming meets a constantly shifting puzzle. The art is hand-drawn, with the insides of the creature forming bizarre biomes. There is also an interesting feature, a level editor mode. So players can create their own weird inside the body levels. People got interested because of this absorb and evolve novelty. You're really blending into the world's ecosystem. Gameplay wise, it still functions as a Metroidvania. Explore corridors of the giant beast, find new powers, backtrack to open sealed gates. The premise is so creative that it is sure to stand out. Expect experimental, maybe a little strange but very imaginative design. Imagine a gothic sci-fi story set deep beneath a dead planet's crust. In Silent Planet, you play Apranic, a space archaeologist exploring an ancient underground complex. Your mission? Find the legendary Angel's Egg that may hold the key to rebirthing the world. The game's pixel art world is full of creepy atmosphere. Think twisting corridors where flesh and bones writhe like a nightmare, mixed with the stars beyond the skull-shaped entryways. Mechanically, it plays like a classic Metroidvania. You'll map out huge interconnected rooms, solve puzzles, and face off against grotesque horrors that reward careful platforming and timing. From early art, it looks stunning, lush, moody, sprites glowing under plants, all backed by cosmic horror vibes. Fans are hyped because the developer is known for cinematic visuals, so expect an excellent story and adventure as you descend deeper into the dead planet. This one is a sequel to Aeterna Lucis, so it's already got a fan base. Aeterna Lucis brings the eternal struggle of light and darkness in gorgeous hand-drawn pixel art. The world is separated into realms of light and shadow, and your choices in navigating that divide will shape the narrative. Gameplay wise, the developers promise tighter combat. You'll chain together more mobility moves and even air combos. Picture a little more Ori style fluidity. If you liked Aeterna Noctis, you know the style, intricate 2D backgrounds, dramatic lighting effects, and fast swordplay. Previews praise its radiant aesthetic, expect lots of twinkling magic, sun rays breaking through ruins, and characters with high fantasy flair. It's a bit more polished this time, so imagine mid-battle flips and dashes through dark realms, with each area revealing new secrets. Since the first game was a hit, anticipation is high that the story will be just as grand. Think epic destiny and maybe some moral choices that determine who stays in the light or falls to darkness. Well Dweller takes us underground to a haunted abyss. You play as Glemma, a tiny adventurous bird whose family has been captured by an evil queen in the depths below. Your main tool, an ordinary matchstick. Yes, your only source of light and weapon is flickering match. You'll use it cleverly to burn away obstacles, light torches, and even defeat burnable enemies. Mechanically, it's a classic platformer, precise jumping, branching paths, but with this slight mechanic twist, the levels are handcrafted, with old school charm reminiscent of Minoria, the previous game by this developer. It's spooky but adorable. Expect glowing fungi, crystal caves, and eerie ruins dripping with atmosphere. Importantly, your match only lasts a short while, so part of the challenge is timing your light bursts. Burn a ghost, then scramble back to darkness, using flame at the right moments. Fans of skillful platforming and a slightly creepy vibe without being too gory have been looking forward to this one, especially since the developer is known for tight controls and gorgeous pixel art. Now we enter the territory of massive scope. Rune Fencer Illyia is set in the sunken kingdom of Ethos. It's a world of storm-lashed plateaus and ancient ruins. Illyia is searching for her lost twin, and the story is steeped in folklore about rune-forged gods. Imagine swordplay that eats magic. You steal runes from enemies to sharpen your toolkit. You can hold over 140 runes. Some give you attacks, others give you traversal like water breathing and runic dashes. The map is huge, with 24 distinct areas. It's a tactical, exploration-heavy game that feels like a living spellbook. It blends classical myth with a melancholic, sea-swept atmosphere. It's grand, ambitious, and perfect for players who want to get lost in a world for 50 hours. Okay, finally, the moment we have all been waiting for, announced yesterday at the State of Play. Castlevania is back. Castlevania, Belmont's Curse. Konami has partnered with Evil Empire and Motion Twin, the developers behind Dead Cells, to create a brand new mainline 2D entry. set in 1499 Paris, 23 years after Dracula's curse. We follow a successor to Trevor Belmont. The gameplay footage was mind-blowing. The vampire killer whip is back, but now it's a physics-based traversal tool. You can grapple, swing, and pull shields away from enemies. They confirmed a dual weapon system, huge theatrical bosses, and a map that rivals Symphony of the Night in scale. This isn't a remake, this is the future of the franchise. The king has returned to reclaim the throne, the atmosphere is grim, the music is legendary, and frankly, this is the most excited I have been for a game in a decade. So, that wraps up our list of 15 upcoming Metroidvania adventures. Each one has its own world, whether it is the haunted libraries of Ariana, the cosmic catacombs of Silent Planet, or the candy-colored dreamscapes of Little Nemo. We've seen everything from gothic horror to bright fantasy, and from skillful platforming to deep RPG stories. All these games thrive on the indie scene, which is booming on PC right now. Remember, the PC market, especially Steam, made over $1 billion yearly in indie games alone. Steam is still the biggest store on PC, giving developers the freedom to make unique titles and players the first chance to play them. If you don't already have a gaming PC, now is a great time to consider getting one. It is the place where almost every new indie Metroidvania will land first. Which of these 15 games are you most excited about? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this roundup, be sure to like and subscribe for more game previews. Until next time, happy gaming and keep exploring.